Hello, Gemini North Node. This is Samara, your feminist alchemist, and welcome to your reading for September, October, November 2022. This is a general reading, so not all the messages will resonate with you, so just take what strikes a chord and leave the rest to whoever else in your Gemini North Node collective needs to hear that message at this time. If you are feeling this reading, give it a like, a thumbs up. Please do subscribe as well, which helps me also connect to your energy for these readings, and click the bell to be notified when I upload. So this is your quarterly 3-month update, and in between, so if you're new to my channel, welcome, first and foremost. And this is about a 50-minute to 1-hour reading, and we go through different, let's say, dimensions of your journey. This is very much so a North Node reading. I don't read for any other placement. So if you're not sure what your North Node sign is, feel free to go to the link in the description box on my website that lists all the North Node placements for the past 100 years or so. And you can find your birthday on the chart, and that will tell you where your North Node lies. You can also run your birth chart if you are so inclined. So I'll just give you a short introduction to this reading, and all of the sections of this reading will be timestamped so that you can come back at any time if you're not able to watch the whole video today, or if within this 3-month period you want to come back and hear a certain section. So we start with the overarching, let's call it universal energies, at the beginning of the reading. Then we go down to the 5D energy, messages from your higher self, where you are being prompted to expand to, or how you are being prompted to expand and in which areas. Then we'll look at the 3D and see which practical or let's say what situations are showing up in your physical reality as opportunities for growth. We then ask the guides to tell us some information of how you can best bridge the 3D and the 5D to move to that expanded state. And at the end of this reading, I choose a different, let's say, element to focus on at the end of each of these readings. This time I'm focusing on alchemy. So we're going to discuss which energies you are currently alchemizing in the next 3 months. And then I pull final oracles. And that is the process that has been given to me by my guides to use for you. All right. So with that, I think I said everything I have to say. Oh, if you don't know exactly what the North Node placement is, it is a mathematical point in your birth chart that signifies your point of soul expansion in this lifetime. You are welcome to check out a short video of how my guides explain the North Node to me, and that is linked in the description box below as well. And without further ado, I will get started with your reading, Gemini North Node. So I'll just get all 4 cards before I let you know what each of them means. I feel that the bottom 2 cards are next. Kind of a split. There we go. All right. If you hear creaking, it's my creaky stool that I need to replace. So the first card we have here is Magical. Then we have Kuan Yin. We have Creative Arts Guide. No, not Creative. Intuitive Arts Guide. And then Doves. So first and foremost, I'm going to say when I was opening the table this morning, you're my first reading of the day, Gemini and North Node, that I had a visit from one of Merlin's dragons. So it's very appropriate that you got magical as one of the, as your first card. So what I'm seeing here is you definitely have a gift that's opening up that is, they want me to use the word charming. There's something about your presence in itself that creates magic. And you're going to be learning where your strength lies regarding your personal magic. For some of you, that you could be anywhere on this spectrum of, magical abilities at this point in your life. Some of you are opening up to very, very rapidly to magical gifts. Some of you have it already and it's increasing, and you're aware of it and it's increasing very quickly. What is coming up though, because you have two cards here that really denote, like here's compassion and here's, two doves are usually a symbol of peace, right? So we'll get to the doves later, but Kuan Yin and compassion for yourself, for others, and in how you use your skills and talents. Some of you have been using them against yourself. We'll probably get into that more deeply. But I'm getting that learning to use your power in a benevolent manner and learning how to harness your creative energy. To create a better, more harmonious life for yourself and a harmonious world around you. So there's very much an energy of empowerment, but this empowerment, with the discovery of your magic and your power comes responsibility, which you also are going to learn and practice in the next 3 months. So I see those lessons coming for you in those bigger lessons for your soul in that time. I'm going to go straight to 5D just because, yeah, they're ready to go to 5D. So we have the root chakras first. I'm going to use 2 decks for your 5D reading here. Which cards? So one moment, I got a little distracted because that needs to be there. And then we have allowance. Transition. Where's the transition? It's here. And belief. I'm just seeing where they want it, because usually I would go in order, but because I'm mixing 2 decks or using 2 decks, I have to ask where it goes. So it goes there. Okay. I'm going to use another deck here. That was a little slip. They want that one though. They want this here. Hey, it's a dragon. Here, I think we're getting 2 more cards. No, they want this one. King of Water. Sorry, this is the Ace of Swords, I believe. Sometimes I get the alchemical symbols mixed up. Yeah, that's air. Yep. Ace of Swords, 3 of Swords, King of Water. Okay, shuffling again. I need 1 more card. We're not taking reverse in this position. So what are we looking for? Okay, this one. Okay, there's more than I would usually take, but I kind of want this one here. That's interesting. So this is the 5D section. So let me start from this way. With the Ace of Swords and this lovely benevolent dragon being, your higher self, your 5D self, your multidimensional self is asking you, prompting you to change your perspective of the world, to think of the world in a different way. I also am getting the feeling that you need to relate to nature differently. So if you are someone who does not like animals, who is ambivalent to animals, who doesn't think that animals have a soul, who litters, who doesn't care about the environment, who thinks climate change is a hoax, or, just does not concern themselves with their own environmental footprint, this needs to stop. And you will be prompted to stop any neutrality you have towards the environment and the beings, the life forms that exist in the environment. And this is coming right by the compassion card. So I feel that for some of you, I'm hearing that for some of you, remember this is not for everybody, and for some of you, I just have to say the words that they're giving me. They're saying that there's an arrogance if you believe that you are somehow separate from the environment, and there's an arrogance if you believe that you are somehow better than animals, more important than animals. They want you to know that animals have been sent to us for a reason, and that animals have souls and as much of a life purpose as we have a life purpose. And no one's life purpose is above the others, right? Yeah, they want me to go to the next one. This seems like it's going to be very blunt and straightforward, and I can only give the messages as they're given to me, and as the guides that have come to this message have how they want it to be expressed. 3 of air in this particular deck is looking like, there needs to be some learning. And that learning is going to come from different dimensions. So some of it will be, yes, the acknowledgement of your gifts. If you've always felt like animals have a soul, so for some of you, maybe you were not necessarily arrogant or dismissive of the environment and its creatures, but you are not in an environment that nurtures what you know to be true in, in your intuition, right? This is about solidifying or bringing into your physical reality the things that you intuitively know to be true for you. The reason I say true for you is because what is true for you is part of the collective truth. And the collective truth is that everything kind of exists at the same time in our multi-dimensional universe, right? So everything in the realm of possibility is possible and is likely happening somewhere at some time. So you are to harness your innate beliefs and how you understand the world, because not everything you learn has to come from a book. This is our current physical reality, the way our world works. This is the knowledge that we most value and trust. However, there is all of the knowledge that our ancestors already accumulated that they passed down to us through our DNA that's encoded as a sense of knowing. And it's time for you to step into your sense of knowing and value your sense of knowing as just as important as what you learned in school, and if not more important. Let's see what transition says, because you're discovering your magic, and the school book, our school system didn't teach you that you have magic, right? So it becomes necessary for this kind of intangible, esoteric part of you to become a tangible part of your life, to become a grounded practice, let's say, and a grounded trait of you, belief and characteristic. I'm going to go to this card. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with ease and grace. Yeah. I'm feeling Gemini North Node. Yes, your soul promptings are taking you away from the everyday that you are used to, and you must allow this transition to occur over the next 3 months. I said the word allow, and the next card is allowance. Next card is allowance. The frequency of allowance invites us to be open to whatever comes our way, without judgment, without opinion, without fear, and without resistance. When we allow, the universe becomes our partner in the wondrous dance of existence and expansion. So you also need to be at peace with the fact that you are transitioning, changing, growing, and that means that there are things that will be left behind and things that you will be requested to change in your behavior, and you may need to change them quickly. They're giving me the example of a message I recently received that, like, you don't have time to not lean into your gifts. And this is, for some of you, that is also the case. There is a bit of a sense of urgency for some of you. Doesn't mean, you're going to miss the boat. they don't want to set in that type of panic, so to speak, but it's like there's no better time to do it. It's not going to get any easier for you to do it, to step into what you need to step into. And what you need to step into is actually going to assist you with challenges. And if you get into those challenges before you have fully accepted your gifts, allowed yourself to be in a state of transition and trusting that state of transition, being at peace with that state of transition, as the doves here in the corner also denote, then you'll have internal chaos, and the external chaos you'll have a more difficult time navigating. So, because there seems to be significant life moments coming towards you, King of Water, being in tune with your higher self, being in tune with your heart space, knowing yourself, knowing the nature of yourself, and being willing to act from that place. So this goes back to trust in the transition. And also acknowledging that a transition is even happening, you know. You can't pretend that it's not happening. I'm going to move the camera down a little bit so you can see all of the... Yeah, that's better. So you see this, like, this Three of Wands, Three of Fire. He's on a journey, and he seems happy and at peace with it. And I'm feeling that we're also talking about not just allowing yourself to be taken for a ride. You need to actively participate in this ride. How? With your belief. The frequency of belief supports our sense of self-worth based on our gifts and talents and a strong connection to source. So believing in yourself and believing that those innate, your intuitive understanding of the universe is a part of your connection to the divine, right? And so and so are your talents and your gifts that you may not recognize at the moment. I believe there's the energy of belief is running through your whole reading for me. And because what you believe is going to be true for you or in your reality, but does not necessarily, depending on what it is you're believing, you're allowing yourself to expand or you are keeping yourself stagnant. Right. Intuitive Arts Guide is partially about actually being an artist, if some of you are, and this is about believing in yourself as well and believing in your artistic impulses, but this is also just about being a creator, about what you create and how you create with your beliefs, and if you're doing it consciously or unconsciously. And with the root chakra and the sage together, sorry, the light's kind of reflecting there. The frequency of the root chakra, the red flower of life, stimulates passion and supports our sense of security on this physical plane, both in our bodies as well as in the world. And then we have number 7, which is the Sage in this deck. This tarot deck that I'm using is Dreams of Gaia. So I'm using it because there's a lot of earth. The earth is calling to us at this time, because the earth is really where your life purpose, your soul's purpose, is being anchored through your Earth Star chakra. And I have a feeling one day before the end of the year, there will be an Earth Star chakra reading that I will pull out. But just know that this is why as well. How you feel about the earth and your connection to the earth will really determine how deeply you can harness and understand and accept the reason why you are here, right? So the root chakra is about anchoring the ethereal, the ephemeral into the physical, into the physical plane, let's say. And the Sage to me here is you are actually guided by very ancient wisdom, either your earthly ancestors, your cosmic ancestors, or both. And they're asking you to, I'll hold this up again. They're asking you to really embrace and acknowledge their wisdom and the gift that they have bestowed upon you. And they're asking you to make that a part of your everyday life. In as many ways and in as many spheres of your life as possible in the next 3 months. They acknowledge that there may be some struggle in that. And as your awareness opens, you may also tend to arrogance or not getting along with people who you feel have not quite reached your level of understanding of the world, the universe, alchemy, magic, manifestation, and such. But they're asking you to also, as you expand and grow, that you have compassion for those people who are still struggling or have not yet been invited to take the step forward because they have other stuff that they need to deal with first. Appreciate that other people are on different legs of their journey, and that sometimes the best you can do is leave them be and just lead by example. And that does not mean, they want me to let you know, that also does not mean that they're going to appreciate you for it. Just take that with a grain of salt, because people also see you being free and expanding, and they are either consciously or subconsciously jealous and project feelings of inadequacy onto you. Let's see what's going on in your 3D sphere. We have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. The Wheel of Fortune. I'm trying to see if this card is kind of hard to tell when it's in reverse. I do believe it's in reverse in this one. No, it's in the upright. Gemini North Node, what is going on in their 3D? So I have two hanging out on my hand here. So I was just going to ask if they want them both together or one after the other. And then I have to see which way they want it flipped over. Okay. We're going to go this way. 4 of Pentacles in reverse and the 2 of Swords in the upright. Okay, so with the Page of Pentacles in reverse, I feel like there's a lot of transition around money and how you make it. And there seems to be anxiety around it as well. Here we have the Bear, Ursa Major or Ursa Minor, so constellation, looking to the stars. I feel like you're trying to align with your destiny, or yes, your destiny, the job that you're meant to be in, the life that you're meant to lead, but particularly with respect to career and how you want to, because this is also coming right by this 3 of Swords, which is usually, like in the traditional tarot deck, is like a heartbreak type of energy, but this 3 of Swords has a lot to do around intellect and magic and getting perspectives or from different sources, from books, from divination, from meditation, from dreams. You may read very different types of texts as well. You may read mainstream scientific text on a subject, and on the same subject you may look at an esoteric text. So the Page of Pentacles in reverse feels like you are searching, but I'm getting the feeling that you don't quite know where to look or how to look. And you may not have any examples in your physical reality or in your family or your friend circles. You don't seem to have anyone to look to say like, yeah, this kind of life that I feel I'm dreaming about, I feel I want, I've never seen anyone do that. So is that actually possible? And you may also be surrounded by people who tell you that it's not possible. The Wheel of Fortune. In the Wheel of Fortune, I'm still trying to determine whether or not this card is in the reverse. I think it is. I think the Wheel of Fortune is in reverse right now. Yes. I'm going to say yes. Let me just ask. Yeah, it is. Okay, good. So that was the easiest way. So the Wheel of Fortune in reverse is, you may be feeling that nothing is going your way and destiny is not on your side. The universe is not on your side. Time is not on your side. And that you've been dealt a raw hand or a bad hand in life. And this goes back to, as I said, the energy of belief is all through your reading. So if you believe that you've been dealt a bad hand, then that's not quite the trouble. It's the trouble of, how do you feel about your ability? What do you believe about your ability to use that hand that you've been dealt in order to reach where you actually want to go, right? They're saying that, in the Wheel of Fortune, there are many experiences that when you're, focused on the microscope of your life, you don't see how it plays into the bigger picture, but your guides know how it plays into the bigger picture. And you must acknowledge that if you don't step through challenges fully, if you continue to avoid conflict, challenges, disappointing people, saying no, that you are also slowing down your progression in order to satisfy other people or to satisfy a need that you have for security with the Four of Pentacles in reverse. The Four of Pentacles in reverse is telling me that, so two things. You may be trying to make a move and not have don't feel you have the financial resources to do it because you don't have any savings or your savings are low. Because this Four of Pentacles in reverse is coming on the Three of Wands. And I have this feeling of you want to make transitions, but one of the things that are concerning you or you feel that is holding you back from making a transition is financial resources. The security, the safety net, the financial safety net. We're going to get advice on how to deal with these things after. Yeah, I'm getting the feeling that someone has had the rug pulled out from under them, as if you did have savings, but something came up and you had to dive into them for some reason. And that could be also just during the course of the past couple of years where you were making less money possibly, or lost your job, or a lot of transition has happened that you have not been able to hold on to money as much money as you would have liked. Some of you are not making, like the money is one of the reasons that you want to change careers and jobs or change your lifestyle. Some of you want to earn more and some of you want to spend less. But both with the goal of having more financial resources sitting somewhere that makes you feel secure in life, that makes you feel like safe. And some of you need that financial safety net before you can really step fully forward into making career transitions or life transitions. The Two of Swords, I feel like you're being pulled in two directions of two belief systems, heart and mind, or intellect and intuition. What you want to do and what you feel you should do. So as much as you do want to allow the transition to happen, there's something that there's a rational mind and could be a quite valid and rational fear as well. Like concern about what will happen if you do this or that. I am going to just move into the advice so that it's not just me talking to you, but the cards reflect those messages that are coming through as well. And I'm seeing that I'm seeing an internal battle of the mind, an internal battle. and internal stress. Tension is the word to use. There's an internal tension that you want to allow, but there's something that's keeping you from allowing, and you're not at peace with what, I find that you're not at peace with what you're leaving behind, which is also why the Wheel of Fortune is in reverse. Let's move to your advice for bridging the 3D and the 5D. Take the 8. So the first card we have is the Ten of Swords. You have a lot of, I don't want to say a lot, but you know, the swords are showing up prominently in your reading. You only have one cup or water. You have one fire. You have the 2 pentacles here, and then all the rest are swords. You have the Tower. You have the 8 of Wands. And you have the King of Cups for a second time, because he's over here as well. King of Water, King of Cups. So, your advice for bridging the 3D and the 5D. How to reach this more expanded state. 10 of Swords in the upright. Isn't it nice that all these ones are in the upright? Lovely. 10 of Swords is leave the past in the past, and also give your concerns, release your concerns to the universe in however way that it makes you, sorry, everything is shaking here. In whatever way it makes you feel comfortable, in whatever way you feel comfortable releasing, whether it's a burn ritual where you write a letter and then you burn it, like write a letter of all your concerns and you burn it in a safe place, of course, and in a safe manner. You may pray, you may chant, you may, what else are they giving me? Oh, speaking into glasses of water and then flushing the water down the toilet. It's also a way of releasing. But you need to release your concerns to the angels, to your guides, for them to, replace it with faith and belief and whatever you need to feel supported on your journey. And it's time for you to also close off a certain way of thinking. So especially if your family is the reason behind why you think you can't do certain things, or why you think certain lifestyles are beyond your reach or are unrealistic. And if those concerns are just within yourself and you can't necessarily identify where it's coming from externally, still get rid of them. Like, even more so, get rid of them. And they will creep back, and you will notice, like in other little places in your life, where you hold back or you do things a certain way because there's a certain way that you think about things, or you have a limitation that you've placed on yourself. Those will start to come up, but it's not until you actually just start releasing whatever is on the surface, like right now after this reading, go release something. And then when you wake up tomorrow, release some more. Every day, release something. That is a super simple ritual that can be done anytime. The Tower is coming right by allowance. It's simple for me to say, but more difficult perhaps to live. You really have to allow the transition to happen and to be at peace with the destruction. Now, they gave me those words because I feel like what is, for some of you, this transition is, it feels dramatic. It may feel traumatic. It may be the ending of a very long-standing way of living, a long-standing chapter in your life, or you're releasing yourself from a long-standing self-made burden. They gave me the word burden. Yeah. And the King of Water is asking you also in this part of the spread is emanating the energy of, really assess how you feel about it, or how you feel about the changes that are going on. Because at first things may seem dramatic, traumatic, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? But deep down, if you ask yourself, like, do I want this change? And if it, do I want this change? Like, how do I really feel about it? You may actually be more excited about the next steps than you realize. And you've just gotten used to being in whatever construct you had built around you, whatever life you had built around you, and actually shaking something loose is exactly what you need in order to expand your spirit. And it feels like it's coming from an external, source that's damaging your life, your home, but it's because you haven't done it. And you may not have done it for yourself if the universe didn't step in and do it for you, right? The Eight of Wands in the upright, I feel as I mentioned before, there's kind of a sense of urgency for some of you. Getting your ducks in a row financially is something that you may want to do, even if you feel like you don't want to see it, or you don't want to acknowledge it, or if you don't see a way of changing your financial situation. It's a good time for you to just be aware, like acknowledge exactly what is happening so that you know which point you are starting from. So I'll say again, it may not resonate with everybody, but they do want me to stick with, like, this here section is about your finances. Like, there's just a lot of financial coming through. They're saying, though, with relation to finances and your career, that the Eight of Wands is denoting that you may also take an inventory, financial inventory, and also do a skills inventory. If you are thinking of changing careers or are forced to change careers, some of you are forced to change careers, then do a skills inventory and see, it is also an opportune time when this Tower moment happens. It's an opportune time for you to decide, I can use a skill, I can continue to use this skill in my career, or I can decide to take a career path that utilizes another skill that brings me, more pleasure, expansion at this time. And to reach that, to find out all of these things, doing this inventory and finding out how you really feel about some of the things that are shifting in your life, you are encouraged to meditate. You're encouraged to access divination, either using it yourself with an oracle deck or getting a medium. Some of you do need to speak to your ancestors, your earthly ancestors. So depending on what tradition you're in, or you're interested in, you're drawn to, you may have different types and methods of mediumship that can access that for you, or help you access that, I should say. They want you to be more in touch with your intuition and your heart space. Especially as it relates to sensations in your physical body, is what I'm getting here. Especially as it relates to sensations in your physical body, as a means of also being very connected to the earth. You also need to release anger and frustration at what is going on in your life in order to clearly move forward as well. So once again, these are the reason I also read like this is because, these things are not linear. Your expansion is not linear. I've always been shown it as a spiral. So you come back to certain issues, but you come back to them just on a higher rung of the spiral, right? And in this, I feel, the releasing will be continuous. You will be continuously releasing, or you're encouraged to continuously release in the next 3 months. It's really what is going to make room for the magic that is you to come out, and the artistry. Even if you're not an artist, just being the artist of your life, the architect of your life. But they gave me the artist of your life. So there's a lot about the harmony, your world, your inner world and your outer world being harmonious, coming into harmony in the next 3 months. I'm going to pull your alchemy cards now. So the first one we have is Volte Facem, the despicable face. We have Earth's Heart. I love how you can't make these things up. The first card with the dragon, we talked about reverence for the earth and reverence for the environment, and then the Earth's Heart comes right there. So there's a spill there. Gemini, North Node. Oh, that's too many cards. So let me see what it is they want from it. I'm going to say the top two. No. Breath. Coagulation. Okay. So the despicable face is about that part of you that you feel is ugly or unworthy or weird, or something that you kind of dehumanize in yourself, and the doors that will open to you when you embrace it as part of your humanness. And when you do that, you're going to find that this despicable face is actually part of your magic. So there's a part of your being that you do not acknowledge, or you hide from yourself for fear that it's ugly, right? Or someone has told you that it's ugly, or whatever the case may be. But there is great potential for expansion when you can embrace that side of yourself. And for most of you, well, for all of you, it will be empowering. But for most of you, that specific thing that you find unworthy, unattractive, is directly linked to what makes, like, what your magic is made of, the makeup of your magic. Earth's heart. The earth is longing to teach you something and to truly support you, and you must be reverent of her. I must just say it in that way. It comes by the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Swords, that came as a card of rehashing how you think about the earth and its creatures, and by Kuan Yin, which is compassion. You must build a relationship with nature. There is something that the earth wants to offer you in terms of your security, your gifts. So some of you, I'm getting, are like into your magic is directly connected to using elements or elements of nature. And others of you, it's, how can I put it? They can help me with the words here. It helps you become a more whole person, because part of the polarity or the contrast tension that you are feeling is because the part of you that is more, let's say, soulful and intuitive is at odds with whatever version of yourself you're actually using mostly in your day-to-day. And what's missing from both of them is groundedness in the earth. And you cannot be a spiritual, intuitive being and not love, acknowledge, and protect. Love, acknowledge, honor, and protect the earth that you live on, right? And that is much more, much deeper part of your existence than even we really understand. It supports your physical existence, yes, but there's a whole lot of spiritual, energetic support that the earth gives us as well. And so you may want to garden, you may want to volunteer on a cleanup team that cleans up litter, but you must honor the earth in some way in the next 3 months on a regular basis. Yes, you have to build a relationship with the earth. A loving relationship, and not one of you feel obligated to do it because you saw it in a tarot reading. Like a loving relationship, knowing that you are here for a purpose and the earth itself as a living entity wants you here and needs you here. Whew, that was a big wave of that. They're very insistent on that. They're very, very insistent on you and your connection to the earth. So please be honest with yourself as well about how you have existed up to now with the earth, and what needs to change about that in order for you to build a relationship with our living planet. Breath is next. In your meditation practice, you may choose one that focuses on breath. You may listen to your breath or focus on your breath when you first wake up in the morning or first go to bed. It's a way of quieting your mind and tapping into your intuition. It's a way of, and also pay attention to how you breathe when you're around different people and in different situations. So once you start really being mindful and aware of your breath gives a lot of signals about, what you like, what you don't like, what feels comfortable to you. If people are giving off a certain energy, are you stressed or are you relaxed? So it's also your connection to the ever-present moment. And in creating, as we said, like way in the beginning, in creating, you have to know where you are first and foremost. And once you acknowledge where you are, then you can build off of that or make transitions from that. So the overarching message I'm getting from the breath card is relax and listen. Relax and listen. Relax and listen. It's really important that you spend time getting to know yourself in the next 3 months. As much as you may think you know yourself, there's always more to know. You're an ever-evolving being. Ever-evolving being. I felt I left out a bunch of letters there, but you understand, I hope. And then we have coagulation. And coagulation to me, as far as I remember, is when something gets solid. So like when your blood coagulates, like when you get cut, you form a scab. So that was like fluid becomes solid and concrete. This is the work of merging the different ideas of yourself, the different aspects of yourself. So even though you have, you're a tower as your advice, for example, there's still, yes, there's things you're leaving behind or you're demoting in terms of their priority, deprioritizing, let's call it that. But there needs coagulation and harmony are coming together. You need to harmonize the parts of your being and let yourself become a new, like, look at what I like about this. If you look at these two cards, this has a bunch of weird, ugly eyes on it. The despicable face, the parts of us that we don't necessarily want to see, that we don't like about ourselves. And if you look closely at this card, you also see a couple of little eyes poking out of there. In this nest of braids and flowers and pieces of gold. And so it's about you becoming a new, whole, embodied self through the acknowledgement of, this king of water, who you are, who you know yourself to be, who you've discovered yourself to be, and your heart self, your fully heart-centered self, and all of the other aspects of yourself, the things that you don't necessarily like about yourself, the things that people made fun of you about, it's all still you. And you empower yourself when you allow it to be, one harmonious allow yourself to be one harmonious entity that some people will like and some people won't. You know, some things you'll excel at and some things you'll fail at. Like this is life as a human being, right? The key is to not let yourself become compartmentalized or deconstructed because of the things that you've experienced, but rather to pull it into one whole that can then alchemize experiences, go through transitions, share knowledge, be of service, grow as a person. Yeah, and ultimately become a more rich and expanded being. So I see September, October, November is going to be an interesting period for you, Gemini North Node, in terms of personal growth, for sure. We're all the signs are getting kind of personal growth messages. So we have number 24, your final oracles we're at now. Number 24, let it go. And number 34, opening to discovery. So what I'm going to do is read directly from the guidebook for these ones and just let that wrap up our reading. So for let it go, we have the key concepts of forgiveness, healing resentments, shedding the role of the eternal martyr, letting go of victimhood, cutting the ties that bind you to a destructive story, releasing pain so you can move into the lesson it offers, relinquishing the need to be right. There are times in life when you must forgive, lest you become a hostage to your anger, frustration, disappointments, and resentments. This is not about condoning bad behavior or minimizing a hurt done to you. Forgiveness is simply a commitment to stop telling an old story so you don't carry its burden anymore. If you don't forgive, old hurts fester and become disoriented, causing you pain over and over again. You become trapped in a prison of your own making, tied to the story that you were a victim. It's time to cut the invisible cords attaching you to the situation and preventing you from moving forward. The truth is you are victimizing yourself every time you recreate the unresolved hurt in your mind or speak of it with friends. Rather than allow this folly to repeat, surrender the situation to your higher power. Now is the time for radical forgiveness. Say no to drama in all forms and forgive yourself and others for engaging in it. Consider the ancient Hawaiian practice known as Ho'oponopono. This simple prayer is a beautiful way to begin the process of forgiveness. I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you. It's based on the idea that we are all responsible for the reality we see in the world. If something is awry, whether it's your perception, your emotional reactions, your judgment, and so forth, it's up to you to clean it up. Forgiveness is the key to a liberated and meaningful life. No matter what method you choose, just do it. Yes. Should I say anything about that? Well, despicable face. We had some things come up about, and Ten of Swords, release. So I'll leave it there and let you make the other connections in your heart. Let's go to number 34, opening to discovery. The key concepts of this card are the small bits of data you collect from the world to form ideas, the transfer of vital information via the universe always speaking to you, the need to integrate information and be discerning about what you expose yourself to. We tune into information from our outer environment, then assign meaning to it within our psyches. Every day, however, the amount of data we sort through exceeds what we're capable of processing. Especially since the advent of the internet, we have been bombarded with more than we could ever hope to absorb. Therefore, it's important to be mindful of what we expose ourselves to. Consistent exposure to unhealthy messaging invites us to a cynical, fear-based worldview. On the other hand, conscious exposure to information supporting our well-being shifts us towards growth and expansion. The choice, though, is not always obviously ours, which is why we must be discerning on a daily basis. The universe is always engaging us. We are all part of it, after all, through synchronicity, omens, and other signs that point toward our best path. Our intuition helps us tune in and see our environment like an oracle. However, this new information doesn't always make sense right away. So being curious and non-resistant is the key to learning. Today, be open to receiving important information that may come from an unusual source. The universe wants to help you, but recognizing the way this aid will arrive depends on your willingness to shut out superfluous noise. Maybe you need to break from social media, gossip, or the news. Don't let yourself get distracted. Listen without attachment and see what arises in your life. Expect a message from the universe and you shall have it. Yeah, and this is coming by the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, the Sage, the King of Cups, who meditating. Yeah, and I'll let you make whatever other connections to that. Okay, so we went a bit longer than I anticipated, an hour and 10 minutes. As I said, come back anytime. Use the timestamps to review the different sections. And I wish you all the best for the next 3 months. I will be back next month with just a North Node energy update for each sign, a little 10-15 minute update. And until then, I wish you all the best. Gemini North Node, take care, be well, and stay blessed. Bye for now.